Well, what do you do with a barren part of your yard? We're along the property line, and in Arizona, there's a lot of gravel and there's a lot of sand. Welcome to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. This is Sandy. And what am I going to do with this area? Well, I'm starting out by just moving the gravel away. And you can see how sandy it is underneath there. It's a really sandy loam. And I added some water because I wanted to just see how it would drain and what it would look like. Now, Joe's going to put a system in. We're going to hook it to the spigot. So he did a trench that's about 12 inches deep. And that way we can lay that system in there and then backfill it. Now, the reason that I wanted to do this in the first place is this little pygmy palm. I like where it is, but I couldn't put a water system right there. So I'm going to show you how Joe puts this all together. Now, this part right here, he's just adding one of the sprinklers, and it's hooking into the main part where it hooks onto the spigot. He's using a cement glue, and he always tells me, you put it in, you turn it a quarter of a turn, hold it for a little bit, and it will set in seconds. And we're going to show you how he does the whole system. Now, it goes up to a timer that's hooked to the spigot, so I can tell it how often and how long to water for me. Now, he's over on the patio, and we're using two different types of PVC, 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. And this is a tool that he has to cut the PVC. Now, we used to use a saw, and had a lot of little flakes that you had to get off. But this little tool, Joe says, is the best thing ever. And so you can just kind of ratchet, and you know where you're going to cut it. And it's just a matter of squeezing it. And it just is slick as can be. I'll try to find a link, so if you're interested in that tool. We got it at Home Depot. But see how smooth and perfect that cut is. It's like slicing butter. That's what Joe says. Now, you always have to, on PVC pipe, is you have to take some sanding paper and you have to scuff up anything that's coming in contact with each other. If it's the long PVC pipe, the short uprights, the sprinkler heads, everything has to be sanded. And so it's just a matter of twisting a little bit, and it doesn't take any time at all. But every single part, so like he's doing a T, so all three parts of that have to be sanded, so that when you put everything together, it has some place that it can really grab onto. And so he's just using a little tiny piece, and it will just work perfect. Now, first you put this purple stuff on there, and I'll put links to what all the different cement glue and everything that Joe is using. I'll put links to that. And so the inside, the outside, anything where it's going to come in contact with each other. And the purple dries really fast. And it doesn't matter if it dries. That is totally okay, because the cement glue will reactivate that purple. But he's just making sure everything is done. Then you're going to take that glue and put it on the inside. He's going to put it on the outside, so that you put them together. Now remember, Joe always says, you put it together, you turn it a quarter turn, and you hold it. And it's just a matter of seconds. And it sets itself. So he's just going to do all the parts that we need. And we're just going to do a little section first, so that you can see that whole process of what he's doing. And it can be messy. Joe has some stuff on the concrete, so it doesn't stick onto the concrete if anything drips. But see how he just put it in, twisted a quarter turn, and then he's going to take it over and add it to the system. Now, you can do these in really long sections, but because we're videoing it, we're doing a little section just so it makes it easier for you to see. So he's doing that cement glue on the outside and on the inside. Now remember, when you go to put it in, you have to have it a little crooked, because you have to be able to twist that a quarter of a turn. So Joe's gonna twist it, make sure that the sprinkler is straight upright, and hold it for just a few seconds. Then it's my job to go back and backfill. Now I'm not going to put everything back because I do want some ridges that will hold the moisture and the water in there. And if we get rain, it will hold the rain in there. But you see, I can just pile it off really easily. So this section is really long because it makes it easier if it's all hooked together at first. It's exactly the same though. You're putting the cement glue on the outside and on the inside. And then when you go to put it in there, you have it a little crooked because you want to put it in and turn it that quarter of a turn to make it so that it just stays exactly how you want it. So there he goes. And then he's making it so that those sprinkler heads are straight up and down. And he's holding it for just a second or two. And it's done. It's perfect. Now we have it all backfilled with as much of that sandy soil that I want. You can see the ridges. I'm running the sprinkler system for a half hour. And on my sprinkler system, I can manually tell it to run for any amount of time that I want. But I'm doing it for a few reasons. One, I want to see how the water flows. And two, after I turn it off, I want to see how it drains. But it's like a little river in my yard. But I'm just watching it. It's run about 15 minutes right now. And I can adjust those sprinklers. If it's going to the side, I can just move them a little bit. So now we have the soil all in there. And I've planted the 3 roses, 3 Icelandic poppies, and my little pygmy palm. But let's see what else I'm going to add into my new flower bed. Now I have some lavender. I love it. It's a perennial. A hibiscus perennial, bottle brush, bananas, actually 3 banana trees. And I'm putting those right outside my kitchen window, and a canna. And so I am just planting everything. Now I have a bunch of annuals, and a lot of these annuals will reseed themselves. And so, like these little violas, I love them. They're old-fashioned flower. I just love them. And next year when they come back up from the seeds, they will sprinkle themselves around and there'll be more of them. And so I'm planting those by the banana trees. And I just tried to get a variety, a lot of them that will reseed themselves, a lot of them that I know will grow well in our climate here in Arizona. And I have everything planted. Now at the very end, which is by my back garden, I'm doing some hollyhocks. I love hollyhocks. They're a great old-fashioned flower. They will reseed themselves. And I just tried to get a lot of different things. A lot of things I looked at: leaves and flowers, colors, textures. My neighbor gave me 2 agaves. They're kind of small right now, but they will get very large and will fill it in so that I won't have any other plants right there. And there you can see my bananas. I have them kind of in a little bit of a dip too, so that will really hold some moisture, especially in the summertime. All my little violas. And I tried to not put anything right next to the sprinkler. Now things will grow bigger and eventually things may be right by there. But for right now, I want it to really get a lot of moisture evenly throughout my flower bed. Now these little things, I had never grown them before. And they are called gazanza. I liked the color. I loved the way the leaf was shaped. So I put them by the hibiscus. And the hibiscus will get very large. The cannas will get very large eventually. And so a lot of those things that are just annuals right now, I won't have later. Now around the iceberg rose, I put white petunias because these are wave petunias and they will spread out. And I thought it would be lovely, actually. And then of course I had to get some snapdragons because those are one of my favorite old-fashioned flowers. And they are by the roses and the Icelandic poppies, and I put a couple of petunias by my pygmy. Now what was really a barren area is going to become a spectacular area in the future.